Well, good afternoon to you, Scott Baker.
Mikey, how are you? Today, Friday, December 19th, I have a feeling that most people who've had holiday parties at their organizations have already had them by today. So our topic, as discussing who is the holiday party really for, might be for next year, but it's certainly fresh in everybody's mind, so it's a good topic for Lead Better, and it's particularly painful for me because I was not able to attend our holiday party this year, but you did.
I
So,
did
what did I miss?
a great conversation with my wife that you wouldn't have had
That's right.
otherwise.
Yes.
You need,
And
you'll
I've
have
had great conversations with her at past holiday parties.
right, and so we'll just have to reschedule that. Yeah, it's. I think that the most popular weekend for a holiday party is probably not the Friday immediately before Christmas, but
Yeah, right. Yeah.
probably the Friday before that. So my guess
Yep.
is you're right. But there's still going to be a lot of people tonight having their holiday party.
Yeah, there will be. And I actually know, I do know of one organization where a friend of mine works where that is the case. They're still doing it this week. So, and a lot of people do this. And I think this idea that we'll get into about is it for the team? And then obviously the theme here is it's really for, as you were saying, your wife came. My wife has come to some of the past ones. It does get complicated with distributed organizations and people, and they got kids and all kinds of responsibilities. But it still is this moment that we sort of feel is sort of like a signifier of the end of the year and the meaning and a time of celebration. And I think that sometimes in the grind we forget the importance of celebration.
Oh yeah, and I love the exercise of just saying, "What is this really about?" Right? A very early field note that we wrote back in August of 2021 explored the idea of what the real value of compliments is. And until you understand that a compliment given is usually more about the person who gave it than the person who's it being
Right.
told
Yeah.
to, then you're kind of not going to be able to receive it well. And so most people find themselves in a spot where they don't know or they don't really understand how to receive the compliment. So they defer it in such a way. They talk about they try to dismiss it like that compliment's them. And now that you've got this approach to like what a compliment really is, what it's really about. And I love that we're doing that with the holiday party here, just to go through that exercise in the same way.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to think about this in my early career working at television stations, and this might, I guess I don't want to indict past television stations where I worked, but I worked at a good number of them. I don't think we had holiday parties. Now, maybe it was because everybody was doing the news at 5, 6, and 11, and you were always going to leave somebody out if you did that. But I just don't remember, because you had a sales department and you had other people.
Right.
There might be 150 people that work at the television station. And I don't remember going to holiday parties
Right.
until much later in my career.
Did
And I
they
was like,
have
oh.
another time in the year where they commemorated like an annual thing? Like, I don't know if they would do it
I
around
don't
their
know.
fiscal
I don't.
year.
Maybe they just were too cheap. Like they, I do remember them giving us like some, like you got like $100 gift card to the local grocery store or something, like that. So
Right.
I think that the point here is that when in the theory of saying people make sacrifices for the people who are doing the work. Now, obviously, people aren't doing jobs for free. You're getting, there's all kinds of benefits and salary and things and the family benefits, but there's lots of hidden pieces of support that happen. And the point of this field note is you're doing it to extend that message on behalf of the organization to everybody who's involved in this, and that makes partners, spouses, kids, others feel appreciated. And it also then, in the celebration of that, it has that impact of saying, this person who's in my life, who works for this organization, there's a degree of respect that organization has for them. That makes the person, the employee, feel good that they look good to their family, that they're doing something worthwhile in the world. And I think that actually, my hope would be that in this field note, that we would elevate the idea of the value of a holiday party and actually start to be more mindful about how you actually make that event take place in a way that does underline these important values and really has those family members in mind and how they're treated beginning to end throughout that whole process.
Right. So leaders who do this naturally might not even realize what they're doing or why they're doing it, which is true with many admired leaders that we've studied, that they can't just tell you their behaviors because they don't even recognize that they're doing them, right? But this idea of really setting up the employee to look important in front of the people who mean the most to them is something that creates inspiration and loyalty and motivation that is
Right.
unlike almost any other thing, right? The
Right.
fact that you're able to elevate that person, not in front of the organization, in front of the people who mean the most to them. That's huge, right? And so when
Sure.
someone is considering whether or not they're going to leave a job, whether or not they're going to find another opportunity, another organization, they think to themselves, why would I stay at my organization? It is moments like that that come in their mind more than anything of like, right? I don't, and think about what it is that creates loyalty, right? And so, and again, we're actually recommending this specific behavior, so we're breaking it up. Admired leaders just kind of do this, right?
Yeah. Right.
They do it because it's the type of people they are. I want to be that kind of a person, so I should look for that opportunity more often, right?
Yeah. No doubt.
So, and the holiday party is a great place to do that. Like, what other time do we have where we're going to grab all of the families from all of our organization and have them in one spot? So that's really the point. It's like, what a great opportunity for me to, exercise this behavior over and over again, all within like a 2 or 3 hour span.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, I mean, you go back through all of human history, and there are traditions of moments of marking of importance. There's times of in different religious traditions, there's moments of fasting and moments of feasting. And so when you balance all of those things and you say, here's what we are going through in order to achieve the goals for this organization, but we as a group matter, then when you invite the family into that, you are definitely creating something that is not just transactional. And one of the things I would say is, I was surprised, maybe not surprised, when I first joined Admired Leadership. I remember at one point in a meeting that they were talking about past holiday parties they had. And people really could remember 3 years ago, 7 years ago. They once actually went around the room and they're like, remember we did this, we did this. They went back like 20 years. Like they could remember there was that place and there was that band and this thing happened. And I remember, my wife flying in from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia to meet me because I had driven and there was a big snowstorm and we all ended up, at this one event. And so it builds in the shared event of it more than just, hey, we had some music and a nice dinner and people said nice things. I think the question is, we had at our company meeting a few weeks ago, someone who is a high level organizer of events in the PGA. Like, so what does it take to put on a major PGA event? And it takes years of effort and a team. And one of the things that was in there is things that we've talked about in terms of how the best restaurants operate, how the best, entertainment venues, and even highlighted in that conversation was their respect for what the Savannah Bananas do at their baseball games. And so the idea of from the beginning of the event to the end of the event, you're creating a rhythm of a message. And I think more than just thinking, got the nice venue, well, we got a pretty good menu, and we've got a pretty good band, is that all we need to do? Do you think that maybe we could even do better, but that other organizations would do better if they really started to think, all right, how could we make people feel special in this event beyond just the regular?
Right. And the most powerful ways to do that are usually with the words and recognition that you do, not necessarily with the gift. I know that we've got some examples of ways that we could like create gifts that do that same type of thing. But this is not an expensive venture, right? If you're already having the holiday party, just change the program in such a way so that you do have the opportunity to make people look important in front of their family members who are sitting
Yes, right. Yeah.
Right? And a boss making sure that they walk around the room and shaking hands with people. It's more
Oh, yeah.
about meeting the spouse, meeting the kids, saying hello to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that greeting, it goes part of the way there, but the real magic is in making the employee look important, right?
Yeah.
Making them like they're crucial, like, and actually saying those things. We couldn't do what we do if it weren't for Janice sitting here. So thanks for the time that Janice is not in the home, right?
Yeah.
Where
Right.
you lend your mom to us. Thank you so much for that, because she's making
Mm-hmm.
this whole place run, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
when
and
else does Janice get that kind of
she
compliment?
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and you mentioned that, like in the field note, there are some examples, not only of things that could be specifically done around the holiday party, but there are examples of different leaders, and you can go to the field note to look at kind of the things that they did, to write notes, or the way they reached out to family members at special things, sometimes even showing up unannounced at like weddings or different other important events to certain families. And by the way, I don't think you want to make that a regular pattern, because if they're like, oh, the boss went to the wedding over here, but he didn't go to my wedding, or the other person, it's like pretty soon you have a problem, right? So, and I actually had a news director at a television station who's like, I don't go to weddings, like that, because problems, people, not all the marriages work out well, so it's just better to stay away from all of that. And I understand that, but maybe not everybody can make it to the holiday party. So maybe if the leader is doing the video messages and other things that are mentioned in the field note, beyond just being like, oh, you got an extra gift card for some special thing, we put some thought into that. And I think that there are plenty of resources out there for just event planning, and I think we should all be thinking more about the way that an event is a relational statement. And I know there's a writer named Nick Gray, who I've met and talked to a couple times, and he has a book on having successful parties, but then he has other kinds of events. I'm just saying that if you could imagine to say, if Nick Gray organized your organization's holiday party, it's going to be 10x better than what you probably would have been able to do on your own. So that means you can get better at this. And that means that you can be looking for ideas, you can be looking for timetables, structures, things that, like when people get to a hotel, there's already something that says, here's what's going to be happening tonight, things that create anticipation around the event, more than just, okay, we're going to have a time to dance. And maybe it's just a little bit of extra effort that goes into that, because what you're saying is that everybody attending is important to us, and that and that we know you're coming, right? And so when you would want to, it doesn't have to be like the nobody remembers, Fantasy Island, the old TV show, but if you were coming to the resort and like you're pulling up in the boat to the island, and they're all waiting for you on the dock to help you on, and waving as you arrive, maybe a little White Lotus style. You can't always do that, but you can do little things that signify that aren't just, oh, you got here, glad you're here, get some food, and see ya. Make something it a little more special than that.
Right. And if you're going to put effort into it, something as simple as learning the spouse's name, learning the kids' names, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So that moment that they are coming up, that you have that name that you can pull out. You must be Steve, right? You must be Janice, right? Like that kind of a thing. That goes a long way. Just to let and what is it that it's evoking, right? It's evoking. It could be like a show-off thing, where it feels like, he's just showing off his memory.
I had a planning document that had everybody's name, and I just listed it. It has to be a little bit more than just a parlor trick.
Because people really do, when they hear their name and they know that you know it, the feeling that it evokes is, I must be important to him, right? And being able to turn that on, my wife works for the company, she must be important to him for him to know my name too. Yeah. Right.
Well,
and that's what we're after.
Yeah, and I know, that actually has happened in our organization, with because when we do, for example, the daily field notes, and Randall writing most of them, and then I'll spend, sometimes it's it takes 5 minutes to edit. Sometimes it takes 45 minutes to edit. Sometimes you really have to wrestle with them and fact check some things and look things up, and you're proofing them and you're checking them out. But my wife will take a pass at the proofing after I'm done, before I send it to you or get it laid out, or Michael does the graphics for it. And so there's a lot of steps in there. And so my wife has gotten a note, from leaders in our organization thanking her for just her unpaid volunteer role, just making that process smooth. Those things mean a lot. And I think that the end of the field note is the thing that we should all think about, not only in terms of holiday parties, but many other things that we do as leaders, which is the holiday party. If a leader sees the holiday party as a chore, they are missing out. This is a real opportunity to underline what really matters. So this is something that you get to do, not something that you have to do.
Yeah, a concentrated moment of everybody in the organization coming together where you can actually express your thanks. It's a real gift to leaders if they're thinking of it in the right way.
For sure.
All right. Well, thanks for your time
Sounds
today. I
good.
appreciate it. All right. Bye
All
now.
right. See you tomorrow.